Hey guys, so today we're going to kind of look at the variation of the double feint or the double feint more in depth. And so I kind of mentioned this before where like you take these little short stutter steps, but looking at more clips of Messi, I see like there's some little variations of this. So first let's watch this clip from this training session. So one thing I've been really noticing is like, especially in watching matches, because sometimes it's a bit hard because the camera isn't up close. A lot of times when he's doing like medium to fast strides, you'll see his like leg kind of like coming up like this. When he moves forward and does those like those stutter steps, you see like those the leg isn't back here. It like barely comes off the ground here. So it's really hard to tell like when you watch a match, but that's where I look out for, and you can kind of anticipate the right time and situations to do well. It's not always a feint, but like these stutter steps. So looking at this carefully, you see like Messi kind of does like often as he does, not only a feint with his non-dribbling foot, but a lot of times with his dribbling foot. And sometimes he'll even take a touch and like kind of like see his shoulders kind of dropped with his left foot there. And then you see how his like legs come together. You see that knee is like really close to his other knee, and you see he kind of turns out this way, and then he does a very like slight feint, and then that knee is still fairly close. It's not too far apart, and then it's the changing directions of the knees here. And see, this is a telltale sign. See that sometimes some other clips are easier to tell, but that knee kind of like turns out just a little bit as he does that little stutter feint, and then that knee comes out this way too here. Before I would just like focus on well, actually I wouldn't really focus on my dribbling foot. I would just kind of like do quick stutter feints with my non-dribbling foot, but doing it this way, like it feels like I can beat the defender a lot better, and it gives me more options. I don't always have to commit and feint there. Sometimes I can do an inside cut depending how the defender is positioned. And then so you see here like Messi's right knee turns out this way, and then in this case he feints out this way and goes to the other side. Here's another clip where Messi does something similar. So after Messi touches the ball here, you see that leg kind of see it's bent there, so he hasn't started the stutter move yet. But as soon as he comes here, you see that's where like the feet doesn't like fly back too much. So here again, same principle. You see like the in this case like his feet are a bit further apart, but I find oftentimes he tries to keep it closed. But same principle. A lot of times like I might turn my hips too, but I gotta try to utilize the knees as well, because I think it makes it a lot easier. So I can just not only have to rely on feinting with my non-dribbling foot. I can use both feet, so I can feint with both feet and like turn my knees outwards. So here, he comes here, kind of does a slight feint there, turns his knee out there, and again, see that knee comes out again like this way. I think he was maybe planning on doing a feint, but you see kind of the defender maybe trying to anticipate it. So in this case, he just does a pass. And here's a similar move from the same game where he actually does an inside cut. So same principle as he's running. You see like you see that leg, it's kind of like twirled back there up in the air, so it's easy to tell, especially from a longer distance that he hasn't stutter stepped yet. Okay, there we go. Like, so that leg didn't come up too high. So from here, he takes a touch. A lot of times he takes a touch. He does like a slight feint. Sometimes he turns his knee outwards. Sometimes he drops his shoulder, and then here he again just like another shallow feint with. Sometimes I might go over. Sometimes he like does like a kick feint, so sometimes like that knee kind of just kicks forward. So a lot of times when you feint, sometimes you like go out to the side, but especially on a stutter step or this situation, like you just kick it out and like do a shallow feint there. That knee, comes out this way, like as he kind of like does a feint this way, and then I think he reads the situation in the space. He sees the second defender, so instead he just does an inside cut here, and then carries on the play. So here's my first attempt without the ball, because I just wanted to make sure I could get my knees relatively close together and actually make sure like my knees are like pointing out rather than just relying on like maybe my waist or my shoulders. So as I come here, I do my first like shallow feint there, and then my non-dribbling foot comes out slightly, and then see, this is where I really try to like turn my knee here. Maybe I overdid it, but just to make sure that I get used to the motions, and then just turning like not only the hips but like the knee where I can, and before doing the feint and going over to the other side. And here you see me doing it with the ball. And before I go into this, I'll show you like the move like 1 and 2. So you see here, like with my non-dribbling, like crisscross from here all the way up there. And I mentioned a lot of times like I wait for like the defender to see if he turns. If he turns, I just do a feint over there and just go to the other side. But sometimes they don't turn and just stay put. So if they just stay put, in other words, they're not reacting to me. Now I need to go over and react to them. That's where I do the stutter steps, and potentially the double feint, or even an inside cut after these stutter steps, depending on the space and the body position. So here you see, after I crisscross, I'm anticipating the defender doesn't really move that much or react or turn. So here I do a shallow feint with my dribbling foot, trying to do just kind of like a slight feint there, and then just a slight feint with my non-dribbling foot there over there, and then trying to keep these knees relatively close. And what I can just see here, it's kind of hard, but to kind of bring my knees slightly to the outside, and then do a feint out, and before going to the other side. Kind of want to bring a couple other like nuanced variations to the move, it's particularly when you do the crisscross or the non-dribbling foot. These are just moves I'm working on, and you see actually in my experience when they work. The previous move, when I talked about the stutter steps, even with the inside cut or the feint, that definitely does work. I don't want to just give you guys a bunch of things that I think that might work, but that actually don't work in practice. But I thought maybe I just discuss what I think might work, and I guess anecdotally, like they've worked in the past, but I really got to hone down and get the essence of the move. So here is the first move I'll play. So just like before, leading with the crisscross. Now, like sometimes when the defender, he turns early, I'll just do this right away. See, I kind of like do a pause there, and and then do a skip feint like this. So sometimes they don't like turn right away because they don't want to give away their what they're going to do right away, or sometimes they'll do a half turn because they don't want to commit fully to going there. So you kind of do there, and you kind of see the defender starting to react over there, and then when he does turn just a bit more, that's where you can actually do the skip feint here like this and going over to the other side. On the other hand, once you get to here, and then the defender does a half turn, and then maybe he just stays still, or even he turns back out this way, and you have quite a bit of space. You can just do an inside cut over to this side, or even if he's just a half turn, you can just do a slight inside cut and then reposition with your foot there and see how he reacts. Because if he still stays put, then you got all this extra space, especially with the ball shifted over. Also do want to point out, since I got a bit more time, it's a lot better to also do a slight feint as you plant your dribbling foot there. So you see my dribbling foot is planted there, and then you see my knees kind of out to the side, and I'm my shoulders dropped. So kind of gives the impression that maybe I might explode this way, but it just gives a bit more flair to the move. And this is where I anticipate the defender not turning fully. So as I crisscross there, and then he does maybe a half turn or stays put, and I got to decide if I'm going to start doing the stutter steps. So again, I do the stutter steps generally. If they don't react, just stay put like this. So they're not reacting to me. So since generally the ball's moving a bit closer, it's a bit easier for for me to react to their reaction when the ball's a bit further away. But as the ball rolls towards them, that's where I do a bit more stutter steps as it gets closer, and I have to react or make the defender react to my moves. So in this case, the defender maybe does a half turn, and then I get to here, and I can tell maybe the defender he isn't gonna turn fully and track me. That's where I can commit and do an inside cut over there. Here's I mentioned before, kind of the toe drag variation of this kind of skip feint. So let me play this clip. So in my experience, this happens a lot of times when players, they really want to track you at the very last moment. So here, do the crisscross, and then kind of see the defender. He's he's really pushing. He's trying to get as close as he can. He's he doesn't want to lay off and just jockey or stay put and back, but he doesn't want to overcommit either. He's trying to do it as late as he can, and so a lot of times you're just waiting for you to tap the ball and see it move a few inches. So a lot of times when you kind of tell as you approach the ball, then you deciding if you want to do an inside cut. Sometimes they'll start to accelerate with you as you're about to approach the ball, and you can just chop your foot down and then do a feint out over there, and a lot of times they'll come with you over there since they're reacting so late to you. And finally, here's where sometimes it's kind of difficult to say if he's going to react or not, and this is a bit safer, so you might take a touch before you do an inside cut again. So after I do the crisscross there, I see the defender, he's maybe doing a half turn, and then maybe the space is a bit tight, so I'm not too sure if I should commit fully. So I'll just move the ball a little bit there, and the sense I get is that he's maybe prepared to take me on if I commit fully to an inside cut. But if I'm not doing it fully, then if he stays put, then I've got this head start to just really easily beat him. But if he does track, sometimes they might go a little too far, and then I could just do a feint and go to the side. But in this case, I'm just assuming this guy stays put and he doesn't want to commit fully to either direction. Then my second touch, just a quick inside cut again. And it's the same principles both times. When I plant my foot there, knee kind of pointed to the side and then shoulder dropped, just to add more flair as I do the inside cut.